Is it visible? Okay. Alpha-nocoti. Here first will in digestion absorption. First we'll be seeing about the scientist, and then we'll start with the lesson. Alpha-nocoti. He studied first. He did his research. He started his career on cardiovascular system of reptiles. He started his studies on cardiovascular system of reptiles. Then mammalian auditory system. Then he changed his path on mammalian auditory system. First he did his research, or he started his career on cardiovascular system of reptiles. Then afterwards he started his research on mammalian auditory system. Then mammalian auditory system. Okay. He published a paper describing like structure which is located on basilar membrane of cochlea, which contains hair cells that convert sound vibrations into impulse, that is nerve impulse, which is known as organ of Corti. Okay. Just once you read about the scientist. We'll be starting with digestion and absorption. Yes. Food is one of the basic requirement of all the living organisms. We know why it is a basic requirement of all the living organisms, because it provides energy. Because it provides energy and organic materials for growth and repair of tissues. Why food is a basic requirement of all the living organisms? Because it provides energy and organic material for growth and repair of tissues. And what components do food contain? Food contains carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Food contains carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. And vitamins and minerals are also required in small quantities. Vitamins and minerals are also present in small quantities. Okay. And the water which we drink, it is important for metabolic process, and it prevents the body from dehydrating. Okay. Water which is why water is required? Water is it plays important role in metabolic processes, and it prevents our body from dehydration. Yes. Okay, actually what is digestion? Digestion is nothing but it is a process of converting the complex food substances into simple absorbable forms is known as digestion. What is digestion? Digestion is nothing but converting the complex food substances into simple absorbable forms is known as digestion, and this occurs by mechanical means and biochemical means. Mechanical means like chewing, that is mechanical mean. Biochemical methods means based on like enzymes, based on enzymes, and by mechanical means food is digested. Here in digestion, big molecules, that is complex molecules, are converted into simple forms, like simple absorbable forms. Yes. Why they are converting? Because the biomolecules cannot be utilized in their original forms. Okay. Then in digestion consists of alimentary canal and associated glands. But like human digestive system, it consists of alimentary canal and glands associated with that. Okay. First we will be seeing about alimentary canal. This alimentary canal, it begins with the anterior opening, that is mouth, and it opens out posteriorly through anus. It starts with mouth and it ends with anus. What is that alimentary canal? It starts with mouth. Like anterior opening is mouth and posteriorly it is anus. Mouth it leads into buccal cavity, or buccal cavity is also known as oral cavity. In first the mouth, then buccal cavity or oral cavity. In oral cavity, what we have number of teeth. We can see in oral cavity teeth are present, and muscular tongue is present. Teeth and muscular tongue. Each tooth is embedded in the socket of jawbone. This tooth is embedded in the socket of jawbone, and this attachment is known as thecodont dentition. Here the question may come, what is thecodont attachment? Thecodont is nothing but the tooth being embedded in the socket of jawbone. Tooth being embedded in the socket of jawbone is known as thecodont. Majority of mammals, including like human beings, they have two sets of teeth in their lifespan. In mammals like human beings, we can see two sets of teeth. First set of teeth is temporary, that is milk teeth or deciduous teeth. Temporary teeth, that is milk teeth, is also known as deciduous teeth. And this temporary teeth or deciduous teeth is replaced by a set of permanent teeth or adult teeth. And this type of dentition is known as diphodont dentition. In mammals, we can see two types of dentitions, thecodont and diphodont. Thecodont dentition is nothing but the tooth being embedded in the socket of jawbone. Tooth is embedded in the socket of jawbone is known as thecodont. Two sets of, if we see in the life, if we see two sets of teeth, that is known as diphodont dentition. Okay. What is diphodont dentition? In the lifespan, if we see two sets of teeth, that is temporary milk teeth is replaced by, or temporary milk teeth deciduous teeth, or deciduous teeth if it is replaced by permanent teeth or adult teeth. This type of dentition is known as diphodont dentition. Yes. In adult humans, how many teeth we can see? How many teeth are there? 32 permanent teeth are there in adult human. In adult human, 32 permanent teeth are there, and there are 4 different types. And having different types of teeth, it will come under heterodont dentition. Different types of teeth, it is heterodont dentition. Namely, what are the 4 different types of teeth? Incisors, canines, premolars, molars are different types of teeth. Yes, like having different types of 4 different types of teeth is known as heterodont dentition. What is heterodont dentition? Having 4 different types of teeth. What are they? Incisors, canines, premolars and molars. You have to remember in this order only. First, in adult human, first teeth are incisors, then canines, then premolars, then molars. Okay. What is dental formula? Dental formula is nothing but the arrangement of teeth in each half of the upper jaw and lower jaw in the order of incisors, canines, premolars, molars is known as dental formula. And this dental formula is important. Remember this. Okay, 2 by 2, 1 by 1. 2 by 2 is nothing but these are incisors. These are canines. First, we will see incisors, then we will be seeing canines, then we will be seeing premolars, then we will be seeing molars. Okay. How many dentitions we can see in humans? Write in WhatsApp and send me. How many dentitions are seen in human beings? Okay. 4 types. I'm asking types of dentitions. Also, heterodont. You have to say heterodont, diphodont, and thecodont type of dentitions. Okay. In heterodont, how many types of teeth? If I ask, you have to say 4 types of teeth. And you have to remember this formula, dental formula. You have to remember this dental formula. Okay. Hard chewing surface. Like teeth, it has a hard chewing surface that is known as enamel. And this enamel helps in mastication of food. Enamel helps in mastication of food. Yeah. Hard chewing surface of the teeth is known as enamel. What it helps? It helps in mastication of food. Yes. Here in buccal cavity, yeah. This is we are alimentary canal. It's starting with mouth and it is ending posteriorly. It ends with anus, as we have seen. Here mouth it opens into oral cavity. In oral cavity, we will be having teeth, and 32 teeth are present in adult humans, and like tongue, muscular tongue is there. Here the tongue is muscular. It's a free movable muscular organ which is attached to the floor of the oral cavity by frenulum. Tongue is attached to the oral cavity by what? By frenulum. Okay. It's a dash is a freely movable muscular organ. Tongue is a freely movable muscular organ. How it is attached to the floor of oral cavity? It is attached to the floor of oral cavity by frenulum. Okay. Upper surface of the tongue has small projections called as papilla. Upper surface of the tongue, it has small projections that is known as papilla. Some of the papillae they have taste buds. Okay, here this point is important. Some of the papillae they bear taste buds. All the papillae they don't bear taste buds. Just some of the papillae have taste buds. Yes. Next is oral cavity. It leads into a short pharynx. Here, first what we have seen. First mouth. Mouth it opens into oral cavity. Oral cavity it opens into pharynx. Now we will be learning about pharynx. Okay. Yeah. Oral cavity it leads into short pharynx, which serves as a common passage for both food and air. Which serves as a common passage for both food and air. Pharynx. Pharynx is short and it serves as a common passage for both food and air. Okay, it is a common passage for food and air. Yeah. Esophagus and trachea. Trachea is also known as windpipe. Trachea is also known as windpipe. Esophagus, trachea, it opens into pharynx. What are the structures which are opening into pharynx? Esophagus and trachea. What are the structures which are opening into pharynx? Esophagus and trachea. Trachea, other name for trachea is windpipe. Yes. One cartilaginous flap. The flap is cartilaginous and it is called as epiglottis. It prevents the entry of food into glottis. The flap which prevents the entry of food into glottis is cartilaginous in nature and it is known as epiglottis. Epiglottis is a cartilaginous flap which prevents the food into glottis. Yes. Now, what is glottis actually? Glottis is nothing but it is the opening of windpipe. Windpipe, what is the other name for windpipe? Trachea. Yeah. This does in the case of swallowing. Like during swallowing, this cartilaginous flap known as the epiglottis, it prevents the entry of food into glottis. Okay. Here, how is esophagus? Also, first pharynx. Here, the question may come like pharynx is short, long. So, pharynx is short in nature. Okay. Pharynx is short. And how is esophagus? Esophagus is thin. Esophagus is thin. It is a long tube. It is a thin, long tube that extends posteriorly, passing through neck, thorax, and diaphragm. It passes through neck, thorax, and diaphragm. Okay. These points may come as MCQ. How it is thin and long, and it extends through through which structures it passes through. Esophagus. It passes through neck, thorax, and diaphragm, and it opens into a J-shaped bag-like structure that is known as stomach. Stomach is which shape? The stomach is in J-shaped structure. Stomach is J-shaped bag-like structure. Okay. When a muscular sphincter called as gastroesophageal sphincter, it regulates the opening of esophagus into stomach. Yeah. This sphincter is known as gastroesophageal. Why? Because it is starting with esophagus and it is ending with gastro. So it is known as gastroesophageal sphincter. Okay. A muscular splinter. This splinter is muscular in nature. This splinter is muscular. And what is that splinter? It is a gastroesophageal splinter. It regulates the opening of esophagus into stomach. Yes. Then stomach. Now we are in stomach. Okay. in stomach is located in the upper left portion of the abdominal cavity. Stomach is located.
చెప్పు బాయ్.
Stomach is located in the upper left portion of the abdominal cavity. Stomach is present in upper left. Here, based on position, the question may come. Where the stomach is located? Stomach where it is located? Stomach is located in the upper left portion of the abdominal cavity. Okay. Yeah, this is also important. Like location of the stomach and in which shape it is. Okay. Next, stomach, it has 4 major parts. Stomach has 4 major parts. That is cardiac portion. Stomach has 4 major parts. That is cardiac portion, into which the esophagus opens, and a fundic portion. Yeah. And then the fundic is nothing. It's a main central portion and pyloric portion, which opens into the first part of the small intestine. Yes. Let's see with the diagram. Yeah, this is esophagus. Esophagus, it is opening into a J-shaped organ, that is muscular organ, which is known as like stomach. First portion is a cardiac portion. Yeah, first portion is cardiac portion. Then like main body of the stomach is fundus. Then it is a pyloric portion. Stomach consists of 3 parts. First is cardiac portion, then is fundus. That is fundus is the main body of the stomach, and pyloric portion. Cardiac portion is the opening of esophagus into stomach. Yeah. Whereas pyloric portion, it opens into the first part of the small intestine. Okay. Pyloric portion, it opens into first part. Pyloric portion, it opens into the first part of small intestine. Yes. The pyloric portion, it opens into first part of small intestine. Yes. Now, here we'll be learning about small intestine. Small intestine is also it is divided into 3 parts. Like 3 regions are in small intestine. First is C-shaped duodenum. C-shaped duodenum, and your long coiled middle portion. Middle portion is jejunum, and how is jejunum is it is long coiled. Here the question may come how it is. It is highly coiled, whether it is long coiled. Here the questions may form. Based on this point, like MCQ may come. How many portions the small intestine is divided, and which is the middle portion of that, and how it is coiled. Okay. And whereas ileum is highly coiled. Ileum is highly coiled, whereas jejunum, which is the middle portion, it is long coiled. Okay. Yeah. First we started with elementary canal, started with mouth, then with oral cavity. Oral cavity, other name is buccal cavity. It consists of teeth. We have seen about teeth. Then we have read about tongue. And okay, tell me how tongue is attached to the floor of oral cavity. Write in WhatsApp. How tongue is attached to the oral cavity, floor of oral cavity. Okay. What is thecodont dentition? What is thecodont dentition? Okay. What is the shape of stomach, and how many parts it is divided into? Stomach is divided only into 4 parts. Stomach is divided into 4 parts. Okay. How jejunum is coiled? How jejunum is coiled? Whether it is long coiled or highly coiled. Jejunum is whether it is long coiled or highly coiled. Okay. Highly coiled. What is highly coiled? Okay. Come back to the lesson. Here in this picture we can see that the teeth are embedded in the socket of jawbone, and this representation, this being embedded in the socket of jawbone, is known as thecodont dentition. Okay. Mm. Here esophagus. Esophagus is opening into the stomach, and it is this opening of esophagus into the stomach. It is guarded by one sphincter, and that sphincter is known as gastroesophageal sphincter, and it is muscular in nature. Gastroesophageal sphincter is muscular in nature, and this pyloric portion, it opens into first part of small intestine, that is duodenum, that is C-shaped duodenum. It is opening, that is pyloric portion, and here it is guarded by pyloric sphincter. Okay. Mhm. Here it is guarded by pyloric sphincter, and ileum, which is the highly coiled ileum, it opens into large intestine. Large intestine, it consists of cecum. It consists of cecum, colon, and rectum. It consists of cecum, colon, and rectum. Mm. This is a okay. This is a small intestine. In small intestine, this is ileum. Ileum is opening into cecum, cecum, colon, and rectum. That is three parts of large intestine. These are three parts of large intestine. Okay. Again, the colon is again it is divided into four parts. Colon, again it is divided into four parts. Ascending, first here in this manner, ascending portion, that is ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, and sigmoid colon. Okay. I'll show in diagram. Yeah, this is ascending colon, and this is transverse colon, and this is descending colon, and this is sigmoid colon. Colon, it consists of four parts, and this is the rectum, and this is anus. Okay. Here, okay. Here, the descending part, it opens into, like, which is the descending part, it opens into rectum, and which opens out through anus. Yes. Now we have seen alimentary canal, and will be seeing how many layers it possesses. Wall of the alimentary canal, it consists of four layers. It is made up of four layers, and from this para, MCQ can come. So concentrate. Here, this wall of the alimentary canal, it consists of how many layers? It consists of four layers, namely serosa, muscularis externa. Okay, that is muscularis here. Submucosa and mucosa. Serosa layer is the outermost layer. Serosa layer is the outermost layer, and it is made up of thin mesothelium. This mesothelium is nothing but it is the epithelium of visceral organs. Here the question may come, serosa layer is made up of dash. What you will write? You will be writing it is the outermost layer, and it is made up of thin mesothelium and some connective tissue. What is mesothelium? Mesothelium is nothing but it is the epithelium of visceral organs. It is the epithelium of visceral organs. Okay. And it consists of like some, here serosa is made of mesothelium and some connective tissues. Yes. Muscularis is the second layer. It is made up of smooth muscles. Muscularis is made up of smooth muscles, and usually it is arranged in inner. These muscles are circular in nature, and outer these muscles are longitudinal. Longitudinal. Okay. This muscularis is made up of smooth muscles, and they are arranged in two layers. Inner is circular, and outer is longitudinal. An oblique muscular layer may be present in some regions. Oblique muscular layer may be present in some of the regions. Here they may confuse you that outer is circular, inner is longitudinal. So remember this point, which is inner and which is outer. Which layer is inner and which is outer. Okay. And this like muscularis, it also contains oblique muscular layer in some regions. Okay. Submucosal layer, that is third layer, is formed of loose connective tissue which consists of nerves, blood, and blood vessels and lymph vessels. Like third part is submuscular layer, submucosal layer. Third layer is submucosal layer, and it is formed of loose connective tissue. And this loose connective tissue, it contains nerves, blood, and lymph vessels. Yes. In duodenum, these glands are also present. In submucosa layer, glands are present. Yes. In submucosa layer of duodenum, glands are present. Okay. The innermost layer lining the lumen of the alimentary canal is the innermost layer which lines the lumen of the alimentary canal is mucosa. This layer, it forms irregular folds. This layer, it is forming like irregular folds. Like these irregular folds in stomach, it is known as rugae, and these folds, they are small finger-like folds in villi, like they are called as villi, and it is seen in small intestine. This like mucosa layer, it forms like two types of folds. First, irregular folds. If these irregular folds are known as rugae in the stomach, and in small like finger-like foldings, they are known as villi. If this mucosa layer, it is present in small intestine. If this small intestine, this mucosal layer, it forms small finger-like foldings that is known as villi. Okay. The cells which are lining the villi, it produces numerous microscopic projections. Yes. The cells which line the villi, it produces like projections is known as microvilli, and it gives these projections, it give a brush border like appearance. Yes. First term. Yeah, this is the alimentary canal, like transverse section of alimentary canal. First, the outermost layer is the serosa layer. It is the outermost layer. It is made up of like thin mesothelium and some connective tissues. Yes. Their muscularis is made up of smooth muscles. First, the inner is circular. You can see now. Here the inner is circular and outer is longitudinal. Yeah. Here the question may come: what is inner and what is longitudinal? Okay. Mark these questions because these are important, which you get confused and will do mistakes. So mark these. Yeah. Yeah, the submucosa is the third layer. Submucosa is third one, and the innermost layer, which is lining the lumen of the alimentary canal, is mucosa. Okay. These modifications, they increase. These modifications, what do? They increase this microvilli. What is the function of that? They increase the surface area. Microvilli function is increasing the surface area. Okay. This is a villi, and they are supplied with network of capillaries. Yes, we can see capillaries and large lymph vessels. Villi are supplied by network of capillaries and large lymph vessels. This large lymph vessel is known as lateral. Large lymph vessel which is present in villi is known as lateral, and many capillaries also present in villi. And this villi is seen in where you can see villi. Write in WhatsApp. And which layer does it belongs to? Where is villi present? Villi belongs to which layer? Here we have seen that villi is present in small intestine, not in large intestine. Okay. Villi, it is a small finger-like foldings which is present in small intestine. Okay. Here the sigmoid colon. In figure you can see now this is the sigmoid colon. Okay. Here this is sigmoid, like S-shaped curve is there. That is sigmoid colon. Okay. Come back to the lesson. Yeah. Okay. We are done with lacteal. Lacteal is nothing but villi. It consists of network of capillaries, and with the network of capillaries we can see this is a large lymph vessel, and this large lymph vessel, the yellow color is lacteal. Okay, this whole is villi and these are capillaries, and this one large one yellow color is lacteal, and this yellow color lacteal is nothing but it is a large lymph vessel. Large lymph vessel. Okay. This mucosal epithelium has a goblet cells which secrete mucus that helps in lubrication. Yeah. This mucous epithelium है ना, this mucous epithelium has goblet cells. That goblet cells are they secrete mucus. And what is the function of mucus? Mucus, it helps in lubrication. Mucus helps in lubrication. Yes. Mucosa also forms glands. Mucus layer, it also forms glands in stomach, that is known as gastric glands, and crypts in between the bases of villi. Basis of villi in intestine. In the small intestine, it forms crypts of liver cone. Yes. The crypts of liver cone are seen in between the bases of villi. They are seen in between the bases of villi. That is known as crypts of liver cone. Okay. Here all these four layers, they show modifications in different parts of the alimentary canal. They show modifications. These four layers, they modify in different parts of the alimentary canal. Okay. Here we are starting with first what is digestive system. Like digestive system is nothing but alimentary canal and the glands associated with that. So first we have seen what is alimentary canal, and next here we are seeing digestive glands. Okay. Here first, like digestive glands are associated with the which are associated with the alimentary canal. It includes salivary gland, liver, and pancreas, which are like associated. They are present outside of the alimentary canal. These glands are present outside of the alimentary canal. What are they? Salivary glands, liver, and pancreas. Salivary glands, liver, and pancreas. Saliva is produced by three pairs of salivary glands. Saliva is produced from salivary glands, and which are in three pairs. Their number, if they ask how many number of salivary glands are there, you will write 6. There are 6 in number. Salivary glands are 6 in number. But if they ask in how many pairs salivary glands are there, you will write 3 pairs. 3 pairs of salivary glands or 6 number of salivary glands. Yeah. Salivary glands, what they do? They produce saliva. Yeah. What like we are seeing salivary glands. Parotid gland is a salivary gland. Here it is present at the cheek level. At the cheek level, parotid salivary gland is present. Submucosa layer, like submaxillary, submandibular, it is present at the angle of lower jaw. Submaxillary, it is present. Submaxillary is also known as submandibular. It is present at lower jaw. Submaxillary, it is present at the lower jaw. Sublingual, it is present below the tongue. Sublingual, it is present below the tongue. And these glands, which are situated just outside the buccal cavity, they secrete salivary juice into buccal cavity. These glands, they are present outside the alimentary canal, like they are present outside the buccal cavity, but they secrete salivary juice into buccal cavity. Yes. Next associated gland is liver. Liver is the largest gland. Liver is the largest gland of the body. Which is the largest gland of the body? Liver. Liver is the largest gland of the body. Liver is nothing but liver is the largest gland of the body, which is weighing about 1.2 to 1.5 kg, which is weighing 1.2 to 1.5 kg in an adult human. It is situated in the abdominal cavity, just below the diaphragm, and it has two lobes. First, liver is the largest gland. Liver is the largest gland. It is weighing how many kgs? 1.2 to 1.5 kg. Which is the largest gland of the body? Question may come. You will write liver. How many kgs it weigh? What is the weight of the liver in adult human? If they ask, you will be writing 1.2 to 1.5 kg. 1.2 to 1.5 kg you will be writing. Yes. Where it is situated in? It is situated in abdominal cavity. Where it is situated? It is situated in abdominal cavity below the diaphragm. Here this is diaphragm. Below the diaphragm you can see liver, and it has two lobes. Liver, it contains two lobes. Liver, it contains two lobes. Yes. This hepatic lobules. Hepatic lobule is a structural and functional unit of the liver containing hepatic cells arranged in the form of cords. Okay, you'll be understanding this with the diagram. First, hepatic lobule. Hmm. Okay, hepatic lobule. Hmm. Hepatic lobules are structural. Hepatic lobules are structural. Here, like hepatic lobule is nothing but one hexagonal shaped or like structure will be, that is hepatic lobule. In that, here hepatic cells will be arranged in the like in the form of cords. That is what here it is telling. Hepatic lobule is a structural and functional unit of liver. Yes, which contains this lobule. It contains cells, and these cells are arranged in the form of cords. Yes. Here the question may come: what are the structural and functional units of liver? What you will be tell? What you will tell? What you will be telling? This is hepatic lobule. Okay, and hepatic cells, how they are arranged? They are arranged in cords, hepatic cords. Okay. Here each lobe is covered by a thin connective tissue sheath called as Glissen's capsule. If one lobe is there, that is hepatic lobule, and hepatic lobule is covered one with a sheath, that is thin connective tissue sheath. Hepatic lobule is covered with a thin connective tissue sheath, and this tissue sheath is known as Glissen's capsule. Okay, what is the nature of this Glissen's capsule? The question may come. Here it is MCQ beta. What is the nature of that? It is thin. It is a connective tissue sheath. Okay. Bile is secreted by hepatic cells. Hepatic cells, what they do? Hepatic cells are secrete bile, and this bile it passes through hepatic ducts, and it is stored and it is concentrated in a thin muscular sac. There it is stored and it is concentrated in a thin muscular sac called as gallbladder. And how it is gallbladder? How it is? It is a thin muscular sac. Here the question may come like what? How the gallbladder looks? The gallbladder it is nothing but it is a sac and it is a thin muscular sac, not thick. It is thin muscular sac. Yes, gallbladder is a thin muscular sac. Yes. First, the bile here is secreted by the liver cells. It is stored in the hepatic ducts, and this hepatic ducts is from there it is going into gallbladder. It is a thin muscular sac. Yes, the duct of gallbladder, that is cystic duct, along with the hepatic duct from the liver, it forms together. They form common bile duct. What is common bile duct? This common bile duct is nothing but hepatic duct together with cystic duct. Cystic duct is the duct of gallbladder. Cystic duct is the duct of gallbladder. Gallbladder, duct of gallbladder plus this hepatic duct. Together they form common bile duct. Okay. This bile duct and pancreatic duct. This bile duct and pancreatic duct. They open into a duodenum as a common hepatopancreatic duct, which is guarded by a sphincter called sphincter of Oddi. Yeah. Here in this example, we will be seeing the explanation of the para. These are the ducts from the liver, and these ducts are known as hepatic duct. Yeah. This is the gallbladder, which is a thin muscular sac, and the duct from gallbladder is known as cystic duct. These two ducts, that is cystic duct and bile duct, cystic duct and hepatic duct, cystic duct and hepatic duct, both together they form common bile duct. Okay, together they form common bile duct. What is common bile duct? Write in WhatsApp. What is common bile duct? Write in WhatsApp. Okay. Cystic duct. Gallbladder duct. Okay. Yeah. What are the structural and functional units of liver? Structural and functional unit of liver. Structural and functional unit of liver. Okay. Okay, come back to the lesson. Yeah. Here this now common bile duct. This bile duct plus together with pancreatic duct. So together they open into duodenum by common hepatopancreatic duct. Here this bile duct here it becomes like hepato, and pancreatic duct here is a pancreatic. So the pancreatic duct is opening into like these two ducts are opening into duodenum. So it is commonly known as hepatopancreatic duct. Here which is guarded by a sphincter known as sphincter of Oddi. Okay. Pancreas is a compound elongated organ. Pancreas is a compound elongated organ. Why it is known as compound? Because it is like both exocrine and endocrine. Here it has both exocrine function and endocrine function. Okay. Here pancreas is a compound organ because it has both exocrine and endocrine function, and it is a elongated organ. Pancreas is nothing but it is a elongated organ, and it is situated between the limbs of C-shaped duodenum. It is situated between the limbs. Here it is present between two portions, like two limbs of duodenum. It is situated here. Here the question may come based on where is the location. So remember the locations of organs. Okay. Yeah. Here why it is known as compound. Pancreas is a compound organ. It's a compound elongated organ because of its exocrine function. What the exocrine function does pancreas exhibit? It nothing but it secretes alkaline pancreatic juice. Pancreatic juice is alkaline in nature. Pancreatic juice is alkaline in nature. Okay, it contains enzymes. Exocrine portion of the pancreas, if it is this is pancreas, here it contains two portions, like exocrine portion is there, endocrine portion is there. Exocrine portion it secretes alkaline pancreatic juice. It is going to secrete alkaline pancreatic juice which contains enzymes. But it secretes pancreatic juice which contains enzymes, and endocrine portion is there. Endocrine portion it secretes hormones, insulin and glucagon. Here the question may come from which portions what is secreting. So you have to remember these 2 points, and it is very important. Remember this. Okay. Yeah, this diagram we have seen. Okay. This is a common like hepatopancreatic duct, and it is guarded by sphincter of Oddi. Yeah. We'll be moving on to like digestion of food. How the food is digested. The process of digestion, we have read that digestion occurs by two processes. Digestion occurs by two processes, that is mechanical. By mechanical means digestion occurs, and by chemical means digestion occurs. By mechanical, what is that? By chemical, what? How it occurs, we will be seeing in this para. This buccal cavity, here it performs two functions. Like two major functions are there for buccal cavity. First is mastication of food, then facilitation of swallowing. First mastication, then swallowing. Okay. Teeth and tongue, with the help of saliva, they masticate and mix up the food thoroughly. Teeth in buccal cavity, what we have seen, we can humans, they contain teeth and tongue. With the help of these, they okay, and this teeth and tongue, with the help of saliva, they masticate and they mix up the food thoroughly. Okay. The saliva, we have seen that saliva it contains mucus and it helps in lubricating and adhering the masticated food particles into bolus. Bolus is nothing but like masticated food particles. First, how this bolus is forming? How it is forming by saliva. With the help of saliva, it lubricates and all the food particles they come like circular ball thing is formed in the mouth, that is known as bolus. Okay, and the bolus is then it is moving into pharynx and then into esophagus. How by swallowing? But this swallowing is also known as deglutition. Deglutition. Okay. Yes. Then bolus. Further now bolus is gone to pharynx and then it is going to esophagus by swallowing. Okay. Yeah. Bolus, further it moves down through the esophagus. First, it goes to like bolus is formed in the mouth. Bolus where bolus is formed. Bolus is formed in mouth. Then from mouth it is going into this mouth means in buccal cavity. Okay. Bolus is formed in oral cavity or buccal cavity. Then it is going into pharynx. then into esophagus. How it is going into esophagus? This question may come, this point may come as MCQ. How it is going into from pharynx? How it is going into esophagus? By swallowing. By swallowing pharynx to esophagus it is going. Okay. And this bolus further it moves down through the esophagus by successive waves of muscular contraction. That is known as peristalsis. Okay. First, from esophagus, it is further, it is going down. How? By successive waves of waves of muscular contraction. By successive waves of muscular contraction by peristalsis. What is this successive wave of muscular contraction? This is known as peristalsis. The gastroesophageal splinter, it controls. Here we have seen that a gastroesophageal splinter is there. It controls the passage of food into stomach. Yes, the saliva secreted into oral cavity. It contains electrolytes. What are they? Like Na plus, K plus, Cl minus, bicarbonates. These are like electrolytes and enzymes and salivary amylase. Okay, salivary amylase and lysozyme are present. Yes. The chemical process of digestion is initiated by oral cavity by hydrolytic action of carbohydrate splitting enzyme, that is salivary amylase. Yeah. This chemical process of digestion, where it is initiated, here the question may come, where the chemical process of digestion is initiated. What you will write? You will be writing oral cavity. In oral cavity, chemical process of digestion is initiated. Yeah. How it is initiated? By carbohydrate splitting enzyme. Your question may come, what is the carbohydrate splitting enzyme? That is salivary amylase. Okay. About 30% of the starch is hydrolyzed by this enzyme into disaccharide, that is maltose. Yeah. Lysozyme, which is present in saliva, it acts as lysozyme acts as a bacterial agent. Here like yes or no questions may come. So be like concentrate when you are reading. Okay. Yeah, lysozyme, which is present in saliva. What are present in saliva? We have seen saliva, it contains electrolytes. What are those electrolytes? You have to remember these electrolytes also. What electrolytes are present in saliva? Na plus is there, K plus is there, Cl minus is there, bicarbonate is there, and enzymes are there. Enzymes two enzymes are there in saliva. Salivary amylase is there and lysozyme is there. What is this salivary amylase do? It helps in carbohydrate. It is acting as a carbohydrate splitting enzyme. It acts as a, and it converts into disaccharide. Okay, like 30% of the starch which is present, it's converted into disaccharide, that is maltose, by the enzyme salivary amylase. And where is lysozyme, it acts as an antibacterial agent. Lysozyme acts as antibacterial agent. Okay. Yeah. Like mucosa of the stomach. Here, what is pH also is important. You have to, which prevents this antibacterial agent. It acts on, it prevents infections, further infections. This lysozyme, it acts as antibacterial agent and it prevents further infections. Okay. The starch is converted into a disaccharide. Starch is converted into a disaccharide, that is maltose. Starch is converted into a disaccharide, that is maltose. What is the pH for that? pH is 6.8. At this much of pH, the starch is converted into maltose. Yes. Mucosa of the stomach has gastric glands. Mucous layer of the stomach has gastric glands. Yeah, there we have read that mucous layer of the stomach. Here it has gastric glands. What are the functions? Like how many types of cells are present in gastric glands? Gastric glands have three types of cells, like neck cells. Neck cells are the secrete mucus, like mucous neck cells. They secrete mucus. Peptic cells or chief cells, they secrete proenzyme. That is proenzyme, but it is nothing but it is an inactive form. This pepsinogen is in inactive form, so that is the reason it is known as proenzyme. Like proenzyme, pepsinogen, and okay. one more third type of cell is parietal cell. Parietal cell is also known as oxyntic cells, which secrete the HCl, and intrinsic factor, and these factors are essential for the absorption of vitamin B12. These factors are essential for the absorption of vitamin B12. Yes. This mucus layer है ना, like mucus layer of the stomach, it contains gastric glands. How many types of cells are there? Here, how many types of cells are there, and what are what they secrete? Write in WhatsApp. How many cells are there, and what they secrete? Write in WhatsApp. What they secrete? Yeah. Okay. Here, what is the function of HCl and intrinsic factor? Function of HCl and intrinsic factor. Okay. So the stomach, okay. The stomach, it stores food for how many hours? The stomach, it stores food for 4 to 5 hours. Stomach, it stores food for 4 to 5 hours. Yes. The food it mixes thoroughly with the acidic gastric juices of the stomach, and it like by churning movements of the muscular wall, it becomes chyme. Chyme is nothing but the food getting mixed with the acidic gastric juices. The gastric juice is acidic in nature, and the food mixing with the gastric juice is known as chyme. Okay, the proenzyme, that is pepsinogen, on exposure to hydrochloric acid, that is HCl, it gets converted into active enzyme, that is pepsin. The proteolytic enzyme of stomach. What is the proteolytic enzyme of stomach? Pepsin. Pepsin is the proteolytic enzyme of the stomach. Yes. Pepsin is nothing but it is a proteolytic enzyme of the stomach. Yes. How, like pepsinogen, how it is converted into pepsin? By the exposure of hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid, it converts the proenzyme pepsinogen into pepsin. The pepsin, it converts. What is the function of pepsin? Pepsin, it converts proteins into proteases and peptones. That is peptides. Okay. Pepsin, it converts your in the form of like whole flow chart again you can see. Yeah. Like mucus and bicarbonates are also present in gastric juice. It plays an important role in lubrication and protection of mucosal epithelium from highly concentrated hydrochloric acid. Yes. This mucus, first this gastric juice, it contains the proteolytic, but like pepsin it contains, and it also contains these what like mucus and bicarbonates also. It contains mucus and bicarbonates. What it do? Here the mucus and bicarbonates, it helps in lubrication and protection of mucosal epithelium from this hydrochloric acid. Okay, HCl, it provides the acidic pH that is 1.8. HCl, it provides the pH 1.8, which is optimal for pepsin. Yes, the renin is one of the proteolytic enzyme which is found in gastric juice of the infants. Renin is a proteolytic enzyme here of the gastric juice. But then in the gastric juice of infants only you can see renin. Okay. The gastric juice of the infants. Only in the gastric juice of infants you can see this proteolytic enzyme that is renin. What is the function of renin? Renin function is digestion of milk proteins. Renin function of renin is digestion of milk protein. The small amount of lipases are also secreted by gastric gland. The small amount of lipases is also secreted by gastric glands. Yes. First, gastric juice, what here we can see pepsin, renin, like some mucus and bicarbonates also we can see in gastric juice. Pepsin we can see, renin we can see, mucus and bicarbonates we can see, and lipases are also secreted. Okay. Small amount of lipases can also be seen in gastric glands. So we have to remember what are the substances present in, like what are the enzymes in gastric glands. Okay. Yeah. Like various types of movements are associated in muscular layer or the small intestine. These movements they help in thorough mixing of food with various secretions in the intestine, thereby they facilitate the digestion. Yeah. There are so many like various movements are seen in small intestine. Which layer? Muscularis layer. In the muscularis layer, various types of movements are observed, and these movements they help in thorough mixing of food. These movements they help in thorough mixing of food with various secretions. These movements they help in thorough mixing of food. Okay, with various secretions in intestine. Yes, thereby they facilitate digestion. They help in mixing and they help in digestion. Like bile, pancreatic juice, intestinal juice are the secretions released into small intestine. What are the secretions released into small intestine? Bile, pancreatic juice, intestinal juice. This can come as MCQ. Like what are the juices are released into small intestine? Okay, like three types of juices are there. Bile juice is released into small intestine, pancreatic juice, and but here intestinal juice also is secreted, but not gastric juice. Okay, pancreatic juice and bile are released through hepatopancreatic duct. They are released into small intestine. How they are released? They are released by hepatopancreatic duct. They are released by hepatopancreatic duct. Okay. This pancreatic juice, it contains inactive enzymes. This pancreatic juice, it contains inactive enzymes which are known as trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, procarboxypeptidase, amylases, lipases, and nucleases. Okay, these enzymes are pancreatic juice. It contains few enzymes, whereas like gastric juice, it contains like two enzymes. Like first is renin and first is pepsin. First is pepsinogen, inactive form it is there, and next one is renin. Here we can like inactive forms of enzymes present in pancreatic juice. are trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, procarboxypeptidase, amylases, lipases, and nucleases. Yes, this trypsinogen is activated by an enzyme called enterokinase. But this enterokinase is of intestinal juice. It is of intestinal mucosa. Here it is converted into like active trypsin. Okay, it is converted into trypsin, which in turn it activates the another enzymes in the pancreatic juice. First, the pancreatic juice it contains these enzymes, and these enzymes are GEN is nothing but they are in inactive form. Yeah, pepsinogen, trypsinogen, what they indicate they are in inactive form. Yes, they are converted into active form. How they are converted into active form by trypsin. But this trypsin, the trypsinogen is converted into trypsin by which enzyme? By enterokinase. But this enterokinase is of a intestinal juice. It is secreted from intestinal mucosa. That is, this enzyme is present in intestinal juice. Okay. Here bile is released into duodenum, which contain like bile pigments. Bile released into duodenum. Thus, duodenum is a C-shaped. Duodenum is C-shaped. Bile is released into that. It contains pigments. Here it contains pigments, that is bilirubin and biliverdin. Bile released into duodenum. It contains pigments, that is bilirubin and biliverdin. Bile salts, cholesterol, and phospholipids. But bile does not contain enzymes. This is very important. Mark this. Important. Mark this. Okay. Here this point can come as MCQ. Bile it contains bile pigments, bile salts. What are the bile pigments present in bile? Bilirubin and biliverdin. Bile it contains bilirubin and biliverdin. Okay, and this it also contains bile salts also. Bile salts, cholesterol. Cholesterol is also present in bile. Phospholipids are also present in bile, but it does not contain enzymes. But enzymes are not seen in bile. Okay, bile. Yeah. Bile, what is the function of bile? Bile it helps in emulsification of fats. Bile it helps in emulsification of fats. That is breakdown of fats into very small micelles. Okay, like small. Here the fats are broken into like small pieces, and that pieces are known as micelles. Okay. Yeah, bile it has two functions. It helps in emulsification of fat. What is emulsification of fat? Breaking down of fats into like small micelles. Okay. Then bile it also activates the lipase. Bile it is also used in the activation of lipase. Bile has two functions. Okay. What a bile contains, that is important, and what are the functions of bile, that is also important. It can come as MCQ. Their intestinal mucosal epithelium. It has goblet cells which secrete mucus. This mucus, like epithelium, we have learned earlier. That is, epithelium has goblet cells and it secretes mucus, and brush border appearance are there. The secretions of brush border cells of the mucosa, along with the secretions of goblet cells, it constitutes intestinal juice or succus entericus. What is succus entericus? Nothing but here from brush border cells, some secretions are coming. Along with that, the secretions of goblet cells. This both it constitute succus entericus. Okay. Here this juice, that is intestinal juice. What is intestinal juice? Like secretions of brush border cells of the mucus layer and like secretions of goblet cells. These two constitute succus entericus, and it contains enzymes like disaccharidases, that is maltase, dipeptidases, lipase, nucleosidases, etc. Okay, these are the enzymes which are present in intestinal juice. Yes, this mucus along with bicarbonate, mucus here along with bicarbonate from the pancreas, it protects the intestinal mucus from acid as well as alkaline, both as well as it also provide alkaline medium. Yes, here also the gastric juices we can see mucus and bicarbonates. Here in pancreas, in intestinal juices also we can see mucus and bicarbonates. In intestinal juices also we can see mucus and bicarbonates, and they provide alkaline medium, that is pH 7.8, which is required for enzymes. For enzymatic activity is required, it provides that. Pancreas, it provides the alkaline medium which is required for the enzymes, and it provides the mucosa from acid. Which provides mucosa from acid, mucus and bicarbonates. Okay. Submucosa glands, that is Werner glands, also help in this. Okay, in providing this condition, the submucous glands like Brunner glands also help in this process. Yes. Here the proteins are like proteins, proteoses and peptones. Like peptones are nothing but they are partially hydrolyzed proteins. Yeah. In chyme, they reach the intestine. The proteins which are present in the chyme, yeah, the proteins are digested in, they are partially digested. They are present in like chyme, they are reaching the intestine. They reach in the intestine and they are acted upon by proteolytic enzymes. Yeah. Thus the proteins which are present in stomach, they reach the intestine and they are digested into dipeptides. Here here what enzymes are acting upon it are trypsin, chymotrypsin, carboxypeptidase. Yes. First protein digestion finished. Here in intestine, proteins are digested into dipeptides by this enzyme, and this is very important. Remember this. Here this can come as MCQ. Okay. Carbohydrates which are present in chyme. Okay. Carbohydrates which are present in chyme. We have seen earlier what is chyme. Okay. The carbohydrates which are present in chyme are hydrolyzed by the pancreatic amylase into disaccharides. They are digested. Like starch, which is polysaccharide, it is converted into disaccharide by the enzyme pancreatic amylase. By the enzyme pancreatic amylase, it is converted. Here, this is also important. It can come as MCQ. Fats are broken down by the lipase. Fats are converted into diglycerides. Fats are converted into diglycerides. The gland which is Brunner gland is nothing but the gland which is present in submucous layer. That is known as Brunner gland. That's it. Okay. 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 Come back to the lesson. Here the fats are converted into diglycerides and into monoglycerides. Fats are broken down. Here fats are broken down by the lipase with the help of bile into diglycerides and monoglycerides. With the help of lipases, fats are converted into diglycerides, into and monoglycerides by the lipase. Nucleases which are present in pancreatic juice. Nucleases are present in pancreatic juice. It acts on their nucleic acids to form nucleotides and nucleosides. Yes, nucleic acids are converted into nucleotides. Nucleic acids are converted into nucleotides and then into nucleosides. First, these nucleases are present in pancreatic juice. Yes, nucleases is present in pancreatic juice. Here the enzymes are in Succus entericus. The enzymes which are present in the Succus entericus, it acts on the end product. It acts on the end product of the above reaction to form respective simple absorbable forms. Yes, these enzymes are there now of the intestinal. They act on the end products of the above reaction. Here, first all these are pancreatic enzymes. Here the pancreatic enzymes are converted into they convert the polysaccharides into disaccharides. They convert these fats into monoglycerides. Here, all these enzymes like nucleases, lipases, amylases, all these are pancreatic enzymes. And the end products of these, that is disaccharides, monoglycerides, nucleosides, they are converted into like simple absorbable forms by the enzymes which are present in Succus entericus. Okay. Here these like final steps of digestion, they occur very close to the mucosal epithelium of the intestine. Okay. This can come as MCQ. Like final steps of digestion where they occur, that can come as MCQ. Okay. Like dipeptides. Dipeptides are converted into amino acids. Like final product of proteins is amino acids. So dipeptides are converted into amino acids by dipeptidase. This dipeptidase is an enzyme of Succus entericus. Maltose is converted here. This table, these reactions are important. This can come as MCQ. So consider it here. Here maltose. It is converted into glucose and glucose by the enzyme maltase. Maltose it is converted into glucose, two molecules of glucose by the enzyme maltase. Yes. And this maltase is the enzyme of intestinal juice. This maltase is the enzyme of intestinal juice. Lactose is the enzyme of intestinal juice, and this lactase it converts lactose into glucose and galactose. Lactose it converts into glucose and galactose. Sucrose it converts glucose into glucose. It converts like sucrase it converts glucose into glucose plus fructose. Nucleotides are converted into first what we have seen here, like nucleic acid is converted into nucleotides by the enzyme nuclease, and this enzyme is pancreatic enzyme. Yes, this enzyme is pancreatic enzyme, and this nucleotides are again they are converting into nucleosides by the enzyme nucleotidases. This nucleotidases is intestinal enzyme. This nucleotidases is intestinal enzyme. Nucleosides are converted into sugars and nitrogen bases by the enzyme nucleosidases. This is also one intestinal enzyme. Here, this di and monoglycerides are converted into fatty acids and glycerol by the enzyme lipases. Here the breakdown of biomacromolecules which are mentioned above. This breakdown of this it occurs in here like duodenum region of the small intestine. All these reactions occur in duodenum right there. Here these all reactions occur in duodenum region of small intestine. Okay. The simple substances which are formed, the simple substances formed which are formed, they are absorbed in these substances which are formed, they are absorbed in jejunum region and ileum region of the small intestine. They are absorbed in jejunum and ileum. They are absorbed in jejunum and ileum regions of the small intestine. Yes. The undigested and unabsorbed substances are passed on to the large intestine. Yes. There is no significant digestion, like no digestive activity, no significant digestive activity occurs in small intestine. No significant digestion occurs in large intestine. In large intestine, what are the functions of large intestine? Just that is absorption. Here absorption of like water, minerals and certain drugs. Absorption of water, minerals and drugs. Okay. Here secretion of mucus. The mucus is secreted which helps in like adhering the waste materials together and lubricating it for easy passage. These two functions are important to remember this. Here absorption of absorption of okay, this is yeah. These are undigested and unabsorbed substances called feces. They enter into they enter into cecum of the large intestine. These undigested and unabsorbed substances, it is known as feces. How they enter into cecum of the large intestine through ileocecal wall. They enter into ileocecal wall, which prevents this wall is there. This wall it prevents the backflow of fecal matter. It prevents the backflow of fecal matter. It is temporarily stored in the rectum till defecation. Okay, this you understood, huh? What is the valve? Ileocecal wall. What is the valve? It prevents the backflow of fecal matter. The gastrointestinal activities. Okay, the activities of gastrointestinal tract, they are under the neural control and they are under neural and hormonal control. Yeah, gastrointestinal activities, they are under neural and hormonal control for proper coordination of different parts. Okay, like sight, smell, like presence of food in the oral cavity can stimulate. Whether they can stimulate the secretion of saliva. Okay. Here, here the muscular activities of different parts of the alimentary canal can also be moderated by the neural mechanism. Yeah, muscular activities, the activities of different parts of the alimentary canal, it can be moderated by this mechanism, like neural mechanism, and this neural mechanism, it can be both local and through CNS. By local and CNS, muscular activities of different parts of alimentary canal can be moderated or it can be regulated. Yeah. Hormonal control of secretion of digestive juices is carried out by control of this hormonal control is carried out by local hormones, and these local hormones are produced by gastric and intestinal mucosa. These local hormones are produced. They are produced by gastric and intestinal mucosa. Yeah. Here you have to remember these calorific values. What is the gross calorific values and physiological values you have to remember. Okay. This table you read, and based on this table, one calculative question may come. So you have to remember these values. Okay, we'll be moving on to digestion of absorption of digested particles. Here absorption. Here this can come as a MCQ. What is absorption? Absorption is nothing but it is a process by which the end products of digestion. It is a process by which the end products of digestion they pass through intestinal mucosa into intestinal mucosa. They go through. Okay. This digestion is what is digestion? Digestion is a process by which these end products of digestion they pass through intestinal mucosa. From intestinal mucosa they are going into the blood or lymph. That is known as absorption. That is known as absorption. Sorry, but that is known as absorption. Okay, and this absorption it is occurring by this passive means, active or facilitator means it is occurring. Absorption it occurs by passive method, active or facilitation. Facilitated transport mechanism. Yeah, small amount of monosaccharides like glucose, amino acids, and some electrolytes like chloride. They are generally absorbed by simple diffusion. By simple diffusion, small amount of glucose, amino acids, and some of the electrolytes. Some electrolytes like chloride. Chloride is generally absorbed by simple diffusion. Okay. Here, question may come, what are absorbed by simple diffusion? Simple diffusion, by the process simple diffusion, what are the substances absorbed? Here, this also can come as MCQ. This whole para is very important. So, each and every line can come as bit, can come as MCQ. Okay. Here the passage of the substances into blood. The passage of the substances, it depends on like concentration gradient. Passage of the substances into blood, it depends upon their concentration gradient. Okay. Some of the substances are like glucose, amino acids. They are absorbed with the help of carrier protein. This glucose and amino acids. They are absorbed with the help of carrier proteins. Okay. Glucose and amino acids are absorbed. If they are absorbed with the help of carrier proteins, and that process, like that mechanism is known as facilitated transport. Okay. Facilitated transport, it is seen in glucose and amino acids. Yes. Why it is known as facilitated transport? Because it is occurring with the help of carrier proteins. The water, like transport of water, it depends upon osmotic gradient. Water transport, it depends upon osmotic gradient. Yes. Active transport, it occurs against the concentration gradient. Active means it occurs against the concentration gradient. This we know. Yeah. It requires active transport means it requires energy. Active transport means it requires energy. Yes. Here various nutrients like amino acids, like monosaccharides like glucose, electrolytes like Na+, they are absorbed by blood by this mechanism, like active process. By active process, here amino acids like monosaccharide like glucose and the electrolytes like Na+, they are absorbed by active transport. Yes. Like fatty acids and glycerol being as they are insoluble, they cannot be absorbed into blood. So, like fatty acids and glycerol, as they are insoluble, they cannot be absorbed into blood. So, first they are made into small droplets called like mucins, and they are moved into intestinal mucosa. Again, they are reformed into like very small protein-coated fat globules called as chylomicrons. First, as fatty acids and glycerols are as they are insoluble, they cannot be reabsorbed into blood. So they are converted into small drops. What are they like? What is this small drops? The small drops are nothing but measles, and they go to intestinal mucosa. From there, they are reformed into like very small protein coated fat globules. These are very like small protein coated fat globules are known as chylomicrons. The question may come, what are chylomicrons? What is that? Here it is a protein coated. Here it is nothing but it's a protein coated fat globules. Yeah. From intestinal mucosa that are transported into lymph vessels, that is lacteal in the villi. Yes, these lymph vessels ultimately they release the absorbed substances into bloodstream. Yes, actually in upper case directly they are getting absorbed into blood vessel, where in the case of fatty acids and glycerol, they cannot be reabsorbed into blood. Why? Because as they are insoluble. So first they are converted into measles and they are moved into intestinal mucosa. Then they are reformed into chylomicrons. And then after forming into chylomicrons, they are going into lymph vessels, that is lacteal, which is present in villi. We have seen earlier. And from the lymph vessels, they are getting absorbed into bloodstream. Okay. Yeah. This table is important. Once read this table. Okay. Yeah, from this table, MCQ may come. Okay. This table is very important. Yes. Here, what is assimilation? The absorbed substances finally they reach the tissues which utilize them. First, the absorbed substances finally reaching the tissues where they utilize them for their activities. This process is known as assimilation. This digestive wastage, they solidify into coherent feces. The coherent feces in the rectum. They initiate a neural reflex, causing a urge or desire for its removal. Yeah. This defecation is a voluntary process. voluntary process means it occurs in the presence of like human beings. Okay, involuntary process without knowingly it is not occurring. With our knowledge it is occurring. That process is known as voluntary process and it is carried by mass peristaltic movement. Okay. Like disorders, in disorders, like jaundice is that. Jaundice is disorders. From disorders, question may come. So keenly read disorders. Very important disorders of digestive system. From disorders, definitely the question will come. Yeah, the jaundice. In jaundice, the liver is affected. Skin and eyes that turn yellow. Why? Because like due to the deposition of bile pigments. Yeah, here bile pigments are depositing. So the liver is yeah, due to the deposition of like bile pigments, skin and eyes that turn yellow. And in jaundice, which organ is affected? Liver is affected. Here the question may come. Which organ is affected in jaundice? Okay. Then in vomiting, here is the vomiting. The ejection of stomach contents. Ejection of stomach contents from the mouth is known as vomiting. Yes. Yeah, this reflex is controlled by the center, vomit center, which is present in medulla. Vomit center, which is present in medulla. Okay. This nausea, first nausea, we will be seeing nausea, then vomiting. This diarrhea is nothing but like abnormal, like feeling of nausea, it precedes vomiting. Okay, like abnormal frequency of bowel movement and increase like liquidity of fecal discharge is known as diarrhea. This diarrhea it occurs like it is due to it reduces the absorption of food. Diarrhea it reduces the absorption of food. Constipation. In constipation, the feces are retained within the colon. Here they may ask where the feces are retained in constipation. What you will be saying? It is retained in colon. Okay. As the bowel movements they occur irregularly. Yes. Here indigestion. Indigestion is nothing but like food is not properly is not properly digested. Like it leads to feeling of fullness. Yeah, indigestion it leads to like feeling of fullness. Why it occurs indigestion? Indigestion it occurs due to like inadequate enzyme secretion. Yeah, if enzyme secretion is enzymes are not properly secreted, we see digestion, and due to anxiety also digestion is observed, and like food poisoning also indigestion is seen. Okay, due to anxiety indigestion is seen. Due to inadequate enzyme secretion, like if the enzymes are not secreted properly, indigestion is seen. Due to food poisoning also indigestion is seen. Overeating, due to overeating indigestion is seen. And if like spicy food is eaten, in that case also we can see indigestion. Yeah, you remember please why the indigestion is seen. Okay, that also important. Yeah, from this mm, yeah, this protein energy malnutrition. Yeah, protein energy malnutrition it affects infants and children to produce like marasmus and kwashiorkor. Here once you read this para and underline the important points in this. Here this from this para also question may come. What questions will come? Like marasmus is a deficiency of protein and calorie. What is which disease is like deficiency? Which disease is caused due to deficiency of protein and calorie? That is marasmus. Marasmus is due to the deficiency of protein and calorie. Yeah. So this marasmus is seen in infants of less than 1 year. Marasmus is seen in the infants of less than 1 year. Yes. If actually why it is seen like marasmus because in like mother's milk if it is replaced too early by the other foods which are poor in both like proteins and calorie value, That is the reason why marasmus is seen. Okay. And this often happens if the mother has like second pregnancy or child birth when the older infant is too like still too young. Okay. In marasmus, the protein deficiency in repairs the growth, and in marasmus, we can see the protein deficiency. Due to protein deficiency, growth will not occur, and the placement of tissue proteins, replacement of tissue proteins. Okay, it impairs the growth will not occur properly, and like tissue proteins or like replacement of tissue proteins also is not occur. Your like limbs become thin in this. Yeah. In Kwashiorkor, growth rate and body weight declines here in marasmus. Like growth and development of brain and mental facilities are impaired. Also, like development of brain also and mental retardation can be seen in marasmus. The person like infants who are affected with marasmus, the growth will not occur properly, and brain development of brain also is not seen properly. In Kwashiorkor is like whereas marasmus is a deficiency of both protein and calorie. Marasmus is the deficiency of both protein and calorie, where Kwashiorkor is produced by protein deficiency, just protein deficiency, and it is okay. It is just protein deficiency. It results from the placement of like Mother Sutra high calorie. Here it is due to like deficiency of high calorie food, high calorie, but the diet is in low protein. That leads to Kwashiorkor. Like infants, if the mother's milk is replaced with the high calorie and the diet is in low protein, protein is with like low protein diet, the infant may get Kwashiorkor, and this Kwashiorkor is seen in the children more than 1 year. But whereas marasmus it is seen in the infants less than 1 year. Here the like differences between marasmus and Kwashiorkor. Read and write the differences between marasmus and Kwashiorkor. You will better understand what is marasmus and what is Kwashiorkor. Okay. Based on these differences only, you will be getting questions in the exam. Okay. Yeah. There are thinning of limbs here also we can see. In marasmus also we can see thinning of limbs. Here thin limbs we can see in Kwashiorkor. Here wasting of muscles is seen in Kwashiorkor. Like failure of growth, brain development in both we can see. In like marasmus, here unlike like marasmus, some fat is still left under the skin. Here like totally all fat is absorbed, like all the fat is digested here, but some of the fat is left here in Kwashiorkor. Here like extensive edema and like swelling of body parts is seen in Kwashiorkor. Okay. Afterwards, what you will be doing? Here read summary, underline the points. Don't skip summary because from summary also you can get few points. Okay. And what you will be doing? You'll read this lesson at least 2 times. You have to do this lesson at least 2 times. Okay. Okay, then at 11 we'll be starting chemistry class. Okay. At 11 we'll be starting chemistry class. here you will be reading NCERT 2 times. Okay, at least 2 times you have to do NCERT and go through the also go through this summary and underline the points. Okay, at least 2 times you have to do in order to score 360. At least 2 times you have to do this NCERT. Today itself you have to do. Okay. Okay, I'm ending the meeting.